Hello and welcome to the Charles Cook Podcast. The purpose of this podcast is state and local issues here in the state of Tennessee. Uh, well, um, as we've always been told, if you're constitutional, conservative, libertarian leaning person like me, when we talk about taxes, the question that we always get is, well, Charles, if we don't pay taxes, who will pave the roads? Well, before 1913, before we had an income tax, we were able to do everything we wanted to do without an income tax. We even had roads back then. So keep that in mind. But so we hear if we don't pay taxes, who's going to pave the roads? And yet our roads are terrible. And then they raise our taxes so they can pave the roads. And so happened here in my own county, and I'm sure it's happened throughout the state because I looked at some other counties as well. And so we know that, and I'm going to show it today, that the money is being misused. Okay. Uh, they tell us one thing, but they do something else. And I'm not going to let what I say speak for it. I'm going to show you in the budget where it goes. Okay. And show you that the money is being misappropriated for what it's supposed to be used for. Okay. So, here in my home county, we have a $27 wheel tax. And just on October the 19th of this month, they decided to increase that another $23 to a total of $50 per vehicle for wheel tax. That's not including the state registration. That's just a wheel tax for the county itself. And what they said they were doing is they were going to use that $23 for paving. And it makes me sick to hear these guys. And let me tell you, um, my county's whole county commission is Republican. The county mayor is Republican. So we're controlled 100% by a Republican party. Okay. So let me make this clear. On this podcast, I do not cheerlead for no political party. If you're here for a pep rally for the Republicans or the Democrats, you're going to be sadly upset because I'm not going to do that. I'm going to call it the way it is. And for some of y'all, you may not like it, but I'm going to, the Bible says the truth shall set you free. And I'm going to give you the truth today, because if you think going to the polls and voting straight Republican is going to fix anything, you're sadly mistaken. And I'm going to show you today, because I'm sick of these people saying, well, I'm going to take care of your tax dollars. I'm a conservative Republican. I will protect your tax dollars. I'm going to stand up and fight for you. No, they won't. No, they will not. There's nothing conservative about them. Okay. So, with that being said, get that out of the way. If you're a Republican, you're probably going to get your feelings hurt today, but that's good. You need to know the truth. Okay. All right. So, we're going to increase our county wheel tax by $23. We're going to use that money for paving, blah, blah, blah. So they say, here, one of our county commissioners says, we have 406 miles of county roads here in Hamlin County. We have to pave. We got to do this. And it ain't better, but 406 miles. We're a small county. 406 miles is nothing compared to Greene County, who has close to 1,200 miles of county roads to pave, 388 to be exact. Okay. So I'm sick of hearing you whine. If you don't want to do the job, don't run for re-election. I'm gonna just be frank and blunt today. I am so sick of this stuff. If you don't want to do it, if you ain't got the guts to do it, if you don't have the guts to stand up and fight for the people, quit. Don't run for re-election, because I'm going to show you today where they're wasting our money. Okay. So gas tax in Tennessee is 26 cents of every gallon of gas that is pumped. 26 cents of that goes to the state of Tennessee. Okay. So if you pump a gallon, you get charged 26 cent tax on that. It goes to the state of Tennessee. And of that 26 cent per gallon, 62% of that money stays at the state. 25% of that money comes back to the counties by population. And then 13% of that goes back to the cities per population. Okay. So Greene County is like 20th in population. Hamlin County is 21st in population. Okay. So they pretty close, give or take a couple, a little bit of thousands of dollars, be pretty close in what they get. All right. So keep that in mind. 62% of all of that gas tax goes to the state. But remember, Governor Lee and the Republican controlled, supermajority controlled state legislature just passed a bill to implement toll roads here in the state of Tennessee, or as the governor tries to spin it, access lanes. It's toll roads. You're going to pay to use them. You're going to pay a toll to use these lanes. Okay. But what did we do in 2021? The state legislature and the governor all agreed to give Ford Motor Company $884 million to Ford. Okay. That's just one company. $884 billion. Look it up, Google it. It's easy to find. But we can't afford to fix our roads, our interstates, so we're going to create toll roads. All right. So this is your supermajority, Republican controlled state legislature. And these guys and these people are going to tell you how conservative they are. Yeah. No. Ever since the Republicans have taken over the state legislature in the last 13 years, they have doubled the budget. It's facts. You just have to look it up and see. It's fact. So there's nothing conservative about them. All right. So let's start. Enough with the state. I want to break this down to the county, because I want you to see what your tax dollars from the gas coming back into your county, how much of it is actually going to pave the roads. Okay. And I'll show you a few other things of what your tax dollars are really going for. Okay. Okay. So let me share this screen here. That is not the one I want. Let's see here. All right. I think you're seeing this here. So this is the county of Hamilton County's budget. Okay. So if we scroll down through here, you can see like page 2, it's going to give you the table of contents, page 2 and 3. And then you can go down to page 7 and 8. And this is going to tell you basically where the appropriations are going, how much money is going to each, function, department, whatever. Okay. But so I want to take you to page 75 here. This is your highway. Yes, your highway and public works. Okay. So I'll take you in their budget. Okay, here. Okay, Highway and Public Works Fund. Okay. So I'll let you see here where the revenues that support this department. Okay. So if you look here, you have $649,000. Then you have $50,000. So you have a total of tax dollars from county taxes being paid in. The county is giving this fund, this department, $699,000. Okay. But I want you to go on down here and I want you to look right here. If you see this on the screen, it's state of Tennessee. All right. If you look at the gasoline and motor fuels tax, you have $2,375,000. Then from the petroleum special tax, $42,736. And then you have some grant money there. It's $215,600. Okay. So then you have a state revenue sharing from the TVA, $200,000. So you have a little over $2.8 million coming in from the state, and 2.3 of that is from the state gas tax. Well, 2.4, over 2.4 million is coming from the state in fuel and petroleum taxes. All right. So you go down and the total budget on that is 3.5 million. Okay. A little over $3.5 million. So now let's go to that showed you how much they were getting from the state. This shows you the budget of where that money's coming into, the revenue from it. So now let's go to page 79. So remember this now, 2.8 million, 2.4 million from just the tax alone coming into the state. Coming into the county from the state. This is money that is supposed to be used for paving and road maintenance. They're actually funding basically the department from that. Okay, with the $700,000 from the county and stuff. So let's go to page 79. Click here. And let's scroll down here. So account number 404 and 403. You spent $252,000 on asphalt out of 2.4 million from gas tax and petroleum tax. Let's just call it fuel tax. Over $2.4 million coming back from the state. There was a total of $252,000 spent. Now there's concrete and crushed stone, nowhere near the total for road work. They're funding the whole highway public works department with this money, and some money from the $700,000 from the other county taxes. Okay, so you wonder, well, people know that we pay these taxes. We pay property taxes, we pay fuel taxes and everything else. And then we're told, well, we don't have the money to pay the roads. Well, why don't we? The money's there, you see it, but you also see what was spent. This is not my numbers. I'm showing you the county numbers, what's in their budget. Okay. So this is not Charlie or Charles showing you this. Okay. It's not my numbers to show. I'm just showing you what the county's budget says. Okay. So, but let's go back to, I want to take you back in the budget here, and I'm going to show you where money is going, what they care more about. And when people say taxation is theft, I'm going to show you why. Because, all right. So, this is appropriations for nonprofits and charitable organizations and civic organizations. So I want you to see here, they're giving away down here at the bottom, $1,605,000. I mean, $1,605,089. Okay. So up here at the top, they give to each of the volunteer fire departments $75,000. There's 4 of them, so it's $300,000 to the fire departments. Hey, you live in the county, that's all you got for fire protection. $75,000 each one. I'm not going to kick that. That's what the people count on for fire protection. If you see these guys out, you might offer to give them some money. A lot of times they do fundraising. If you're living in one of their districts that protects your home from fire protection, all this, the $75,000 that goes for equipment and utilities and everything else. All those guys that show up to your property if there's a fire, none of those guys get paid. They volunteer to do what they're doing. Okay. But let's look at the rest of this. Hamilton County Emergency Communication District, $242,000. Okay. The Health Department, $66,000. Okay. Now here we go. All right. Alps, $7,000. Helen Ross McNabb, $6,000. Safe Space, $10,000. Youth Emergency Shelter, $2,500. And you go on down through here. Now, every one of these charitable organizations is probably a good thing. I'm not saying it's not. Okay. But it is not the role of government to tax people and then give that money away to charities. It's not the government's money to give. It's our money. They take this money from us. You need to understand, when we say, people like me say taxation is theft, if you refuse to pay your taxes, they will send law enforcement to your home to evict you from your home by force, of gunpoint if necessary, to take your property and then sell it to get their money. So that's why we call it taxation is theft, theft by force. Because if you choose not to pay these taxes that they choose to give away, okay, then they will take your property by force. But let's go on down here. You know, Marshtown Task Force on Diversity, $5,000. Morristown Recreation Board, $300,000. They spent more on the Morristown Recreation Board than they did in asphalt. But they don't have the money to pave the roads. And these county commissioners will say, well, yeah, I'm a Republican, I'm conservative, I'll protect your tax dollars. Bull. Right here. Shows you. $300,000 to the Morristown Recreational Board. But if you live in the county and you want a membership at Morristown Landing, you have to pay a higher fee than the people that live in Morristown because you live in the county and don't pay city taxes, but $300,000 goes to the Recreation Board. There's a reason why I'm showing you this. Morristown Area Chamber of Commerce, Tourism, $22,500. Joint Economic Community Development Board for Hamlin County, $91,000. Okay? But to give project graduation, $1,000. Where's the Daily Bread? Where's the Pregnancy Crisis Center? Where's the Isaiah 117 house? None of that's there. If you've ever read the story or heard the story of David Crockett, and the story is It's Not Yours to Give by Horatio Bunce, Horatio Bunce, the story of him when David Crockett come back to Tennessee, and the guy got on him for voting to appropriate money for fire victims in Georgetown. And the guy told him, if you can give to one charity, you can give to any charity, and you can pick and choose which charity you want to give it to. It's not your money to give. And this right here shows you they care more about giving your dollars away to things that they deem necessary than paving the roads. And then they will tell you that they don't have the money, so they have to raise taxes when they're lying. And when they're telling you, oh, we don't have anything, I would do it. Where do you want me to make the cuts? There's a proper role for government. And this is it. This is not what government is, not in the role of government. This is the role of us as citizens and as churches and everything. You get no moral credit for saying, oh, sure, I don't mind my tax dollars going for that. You get no moral credit for taking money from people through taxes and giving it to charity. If you want to give, you give it. If your church wants to give, your church give to it. My church gives to charitable organizations. There's some things on here that probably needs to be funded through the role of state law. But a lot of this isn't. And you had $222,000 total in asphalt, but you're given 1.6, a little over 1.6 million away. And this is just for the county. Okay. Just for the county. Now I'm going to hit the city. Because remember, many of us pay city and county taxes. So you need to know what both of them are hitting you for. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing that. I'm going to come back. We're going to set the county stuff aside. To the city. All right. So back on June 20th, Citizen Tribune put an article out. I saved it, printed it off and saved it. And it says that it gives, well, guess what? We had to increase the garbage fee because the tipping fees at the dump have gone up. And, you know, the council voted themselves some raises. Imagine that. But then it says that the city council voted to distribute a total of $341,500 to 20 nonprofits. Okay, 341,000, and they listed them all. Okay, I'm going to share this screen. I'm going to pull up the city. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and take you, and as I said, we're just going to talk a little bit about paving in the city, and you know, we all know what the city roads have been like, and we don't have the money, but we'll tax you to build a community center and everything else. You know the whole deal. You know the spiel. All right. So that's popping up here. So this basically confirms what I told you here. This talks about the state shared taxes, and it basically tells you at the 26%, you know, per gallon, whatever, you know, and then it shows you, you know, how much money come in for what they're planning for 2023, 2024. Okay. So you see that there. This is the revenue coming in. I want to show you this here, right here. This is on page 66 of the City of Morristown's budget. State Tennessee gasoline and motor fuel tax. Okay. And then there's the petroleum tax as well. But $1,086,387 plus the other a little less than $56,000 in petroleum tax. Okay. So that's what the city of Morristown is getting from the state. That's the 13%. All right. So let's go. I'm going to scroll to the expenses for paving. And as I said, this information is public. All you have to do is go on your city website, your county website, and pull it up and look at it. Okay. Um, yeah, page 232. So at 465 right here, they spent $75,000 in asphalt. $75,000. Public works, street repairs and maintenance is $2 million. 2 million, a little less than 75, 2,075,000, a little less. Then you got 1.1 million from the state. And this is what your budget expense was. Okay. Well, what about when we get back to what we said uh, the county was doing? So you spent $75,000 on asphalt. But who's going to pave the roads? We don't pay taxes. All right, let me show you here. This is the city of Morristown. This is social services. Alps, Boys and Girls Club. Some of the same things that the county gave money to. Task Force Diversity, OLA, McNabb, Stepping Out, Senior Citizens. Look, I'm not saying keep Morristown, Hamilton County beautiful. Mats. I'm not saying none of these are bad charities. I'm just saying that it's not the role of the citizens to be taxed and then have their money given away. They give away more money than they spend on asphalt. Excuse me. They spent $250,000 right here alone just on these social services. You spent $75,000 on asphalt. You spent $250,000 on social services. But we don't have the tax dollars to pave the roads. Okay. So then they have in their budget other agencies. Well, what would other agencies be? Well, let's look. So that was $250,000 to social services. Make sure I've got this right. Yeah, here we go. 292, page 292. Animal control. E911. Public library. Economic development. Okay. Make sure we understand. Economic development. $377,500. Economic development. Remember, in the county, economic joint task force for economic development, the county gave 91,000. Okay. Who's running the economic development? Does that run through the Chamber of Commerce? And those folks? The industrial board? Where's your money going? Okay. David Crockett's Tavern, Museum. TIF payments, $361,000 in TIF payments. That's where they give money back in tax payments to these developers that developed Walmarts and food cities. When they gave them a tax break to come in and build a food city or a Walmart, they were going to develop it anyway. But the developers get the money, not food city, not Walmart. Now ask yourself, who's developing these properties? You'll find the connections. Okay. So basically the economic development, the whole hotel motel tax is going to them. But your newspaper article didn't tell you that. Wonder why. Why wouldn't the newspaper tell you that? Who owns the newspaper? Who runs the Chamber of Commerce? For the most part, the Industrial Development Board. And if you think your county's any different, look it up. Check it out. Start digging. Start looking. If we don't pay the taxes, who will pave the roads? Where's your tax dollars going? Many on the county commission is not going to speak up and say, no, we're not going to give that money no more. This is the people's money because they don't want to go through that. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing that. I think I've showed you enough. And if you think your county's any different, it's not. There may be one county in the state of Tennessee, Sumner County, that may be different. For the most part, no. I pulled up green counties. Okay. I went through theirs. And I know what they spent. I know that they put almost $3 million of their own tax money into their county highway and bridge maintenance department on top of what the state give them. And they got a little over $3 million from the state because they got a little bit more population than Hamilton County. But they got almost 1,200 miles of roads. Hamilton County's only got 406. As I hear, God, so much, 406 miles of roads. Okay. So look at it. Stop falling for the political party stuff. Start asking tough questions. When these county elections comes up, you got to hold their feet to the fire. Don't ask them if they're a Republican and say, oh, then you're good. When they say, I'm going to protect your tax dollars, ask them how. Ask them if they know where your tax dollars. When's the last time you looked at the budget? Where's the waste in the budget? If they can't tell you, then they don't know what's going on. It does no good to vote them out and vote the other guy in if he don't know no more, or he or she don't know any more than the one you're putting out. Because chances are the one that's running is mad at the other one over something that they didn't do for them. They're not running to stand up for the people and to fix the problem. As I said, a lot of these charities and stuff, nonprofits, are good organizations, but it's not the role of government to fund it. And when they tell you they don't have the money to pave the roads, they do. They're just giving it away. And you don't know it. And then your local newspaper will print something to say they did. And most of the time it's not accurate, because I can prove it out of the one that I printed off. It wasn't accurate by the numbers that was in the budget. And most people don't get the newspaper anymore. So they can say, well, we put it in the newspaper, but nobody read it because nobody trusts them anymore. Your local media, wherever your local TV comes from, is not going to talk about it. They're too busy worried about what's going on in Washington or the local sports team. This is how they get all this stuff through, because nobody will look at it. And when you do, then they don't want to talk to you because you know. And then they can't lie to you anymore. And then they treat you like you've got the plague. Oh, don't go around him. Don't talk to him. He talks that crazy stuff. He don't know what he's talking about. And then you show the budget and you do know what you're talking about. I had a county commissioner tell me several years ago, when I was complaining about a tax increase that they were wanting to do then, Charlie, what do you want me to cut? I said, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you a list of things to cut. But if I do, you have to propose it. Oh, no, I can't do that. They don't want to do it because all these people on these boards are all connected, whether it be to the chamber, the industrial boards, or anything else. They're all selected to serve on these boards, because if they put them there, then they won't run for political office and upset the apple cart. You know, they don't want to upset things. So if somebody starts questioning, well, why don't I just put you on this board? You'll be on the board, and then you can see. And then they bought you, and you're quiet. The way it works. And then when somebody does do their homework and puts this out, they don't like it. So that's all I've got to say about this. I know there's a lot of these that run a little long and you don't have time to watch them, but you know, if you do, follow me on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook. Just search the Charles Cook Podcast. If you don't have time to watch the video, if you're spending time in your car, you're driving, you're doing yard work or whatever, just want to listen to the audio, Spotify, Google Podcast, TuneIn, iHeartRadio. Just search Charles Cook Podcast on there, and you'll be able to listen to them, listen to the audio. All right. So take this information, share it with people, look it up yourself, go on your county web pages, look up the budgets, start scrolling through them, look and see how much you're getting from the state and gas taxes, how much is actually going for paving, how much is supporting the whole department. You'll find out that your money is not being used, and then how much your county or city is giving away to make them look good on the county commission or the city council. It's all about what makes me look good so I can get reelected with your tax dollars. And then I can come back and say, we don't have money, so we have to raise your taxes. Right? With that, I'm done. I hope you've learned a little bit. I hope you can see where your money's going, what it's being used for. All right. God bless you. Have a good day. Share this information. We'll talk to you later. See you on the next podcast. Bye-bye.